So it's this. I think I was looking for headphones or something along that line.
Magnum condoms.
Magnum condoms. Beyond 7.
In 3D!
In 3D, in space! So, I was just looking around for, you know how the electronics department is buy DVDs, but I wasn't anywhere near DVDs. I was just looking for, like I said, I think it was earphones. And I sensed this presence behind me. You know how you'd think someone sneaking up on you, like a friend, fucking with you or something. You just feel it. And I turned around expecting it to be somebody that I knew. And it was this tiny little decrepit man. I would say he was somewhere between 80 and maybe 200. And as soon as I made eye contact with him, he said, "Do you enjoy the Star Wars pictures?" And of course, I'm looking around me desperately for any sign of Star Wars or any movie, really. And there isn't. There's no, display with Yoda on it or something. I'm not wearing a Star Wars shirt. Nothing makes sense. I just look around me, shake my head. Yeah, I dig the Star Wars pictures. I thought so. The moment I laid my eyes on you, I said to my wife, I said, "There's a boy who enjoys spacemen and robots." And I'm just staring at him. What the fuck did you say to me? And he wanders off. Oh, by the way, the moment I laid my eyes on you, I said to my wife. There's no wife. There was nobody around him. And then he just meanders out into the store.
What was your reaction to that? Were you just like, ah?
I think I must have just been standing there with. I probably looked like a little kid on Christmas because it was just such a joyously bizarre occurrence. And he was right. I do enjoy spacemen and robots. So I don't know what the story was behind it, but it's one of my favorite experiences of all time.
Was there any employees around? Did anybody else witness this altercation?
Yeah, I never I don't remember looking at someone and say, "Did you fucking see that?" But I think it happened right in front of the girl that worked there.
Did he get into a DeLorean and zoom off?
Because it was me from the future. That's what
he handed you.
Chris has a theory that this was me from the future, Ronnie from the future.
He tried to hand you a sports almanac.
I guess if I came back to visit, Ronnie half my age, I don't know if that's what I would say. It's like, how can I be sure? Maybe he was thinking, that looks like me 500 years ago. I can't be sure. Must give a quiz. Do you enjoy the Star Wars pictures? I suppose it's good a theory as any, but
it's like maybe you came back in time. Like you had full control of your mental faculties up until the moment that you went back through time, and then sort of
it just went jelly in my brain.
And you forgot who you were, sort of, and you were just kind of wandering around.
Like, I don't know who I am, but I need produce from Fred Meyer.
Do you enjoy homosexual intercourse?
Yeah.
The moment I laid my eyes on you, I said, "There is a boy that enjoys boners and buttholes." Trying to set you straight, but not straight.
Right, straight, but not straight. Greetings from the Space Pod. Today we are talking about one of my favorite topics, one I could talk about forever and ever, because I enjoy spacemen and robots. Aliens. Now, the last podcast, I mentioned that we were going to be talking about aliens and UFOs. And since then, I had one of the best UFO sightings of my entire life. And I know it sounds like horseshit because I say, "Hey, we're going to be talking about aliens, gang." And then it seriously is the best UFO. It's not like a crazy, exciting UFO story, but it was the best sighting I've ever experienced. So I'll get right into that when we come back.
Tales from the Space Pod is intended for mature, open-minded audiences only. If you are easily offended, you may do better to turn this shit right off. Otherwise, enjoy the show.
Yes, we're talking about aliens. I'm Ron, by the way.
John Mark.
And Christopher.
So, the Black Triangle is one of the most well-known UFOs. I think it's been spotted, I don't know, for the last 50 years, maybe not quite that. It goes back a ways. And I had seen one triangle when I was about 12 or 13. And it was the textbook triangle in that it was like a totally symmetric triangle. And all points were equal distance. And it had a light on each point and a light in the middle.
How old were you when this happened?
I think I was about 12 or 13. And I was just lying down in the grass, and I was looking up at the sky, and it just literally turned on like a light switch right in front of me.
So what kind of triangle is that? Is that an isosceles triangle?
I think the isosceles is what I just saw. I believe the isosceles is where it's a shorter back and two longer sides. The two sides are equal, but the back is shorter, or the bottom, or whatever.
I think it's important to really clarify what a UFO is, because oftentimes originally when I would think of a UFO, I think alien, but that's not necessarily what this means.
No, and I always kind of chuckle when people say, "Oh, I don't believe in UFOs."
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Did you see something in the sky? Yes.
Yeah.
Did you know what it was? No.
Exactly, and
UFO.
right, and I don't believe in them. You saw nothing. But yeah, that is kind of it gets mixed up a lot. UFO does not, in any stretch, mean alien. But anyway, so my story, this was just a few nights ago, and it started very bizarrely. I'd written and recorded a song about killing your wife. And
pretty typical Tuesday night.
Yeah, typical Tuesday night. And so I went and laid on the couch, asleep on the couch under a giant skylight. This was about, I think it was midnight or 1. The song was kind of echoing in my head. I always get a little wired when I record late, if I like it.
As one
Happy
does.
about it. Yeah, as one does. And so I start to drift off to sleep. By now it's maybe 1:30.
You haven't been drinking?
No, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I hear this roar go flying by my house, and I wasn't totally asleep, but it pulled me out of that sort of half sleep, and I went to the window and threw back the satchel, and I didn't see anything. No blinking.
To see what was the hassle.
It sounded like military jets flying by, but I didn't see anything. And of course, if it was military jets, by the time I got to the window, they'd be long gone. But I did see what I can assume was like a jet wash, where that sort of blurry, like when you're seeing like a hot road.
Kind of heat haze.
Yeah, the heat haze, and it was blurring. It was blurring the lights of the city. So I knew something had flown by, and I thought, well, that's kind of odd. There's no training facilities nearby, but
You should describe. You really live on like the edge of a valley, so you can see down into the valley in the cities.
yeah, looking out towards the town, looking out onto the city lights, and so this thing was flying. Let's see, it would be heading west, and so I was thinking, oh well, it's a military jet. They do occasionally fly around here, just doing whatever pilot exercises and shit. But it's rare that you see them, especially flying that low. So I just laid back down and I was like, yeah, whatever. And then I heard something go flying by my road. I live right next to a highway. It's not real busy, but I can tell when somebody's doing the speed limit's 40 out there. When someone's doing 70, I can tell because I can just hear the tires roaring up the street. So again, I flew to the satchel, and I looked out, and I could see the shadow of a car flying up my street. And this isn't that rare because a lot of teenage or criminals running from the law,
Miscreants.
yeah, they go speeding by. It's a big straight road, so you can get up a good speed, just being daredevils. But he was flying. I mean, it was like 100 miles an hour at least. And then all of a sudden, I saw like 5 or 6 cop cars go flying up after this guy.
Lights ablazing.
Yeah, the lights were on. The sirens weren't at that point. But then when they came back down about 15 minutes later, they were going crazy. You could hear the sirens all over the valley. So anyways, I went and turned on my police scanner to listen to it, and that was kind of fun. It was rocking me to sleep. And I heard that wrapped up finally. The guy crashed into a tree. He didn't die, unfortunately, but it was still pretty exciting. I put the scanner away, and I noticed through my skylight there was a little tiny plane, just like a little spot plane, like a 2 or 3 passenger plane, way up there, but flying right above my house, circling. It never left the frame of the skylight. So I was like, that's fucking weird because at this point it was after 2, and you just don't see little planes like that. I live right by an airport. You see planes landing and taking off. You don't see them flying around like that.
Especially that
not
time
at
of
night.
day.
Yeah. And eventually it gets closer and closer. And at one point it's so close that its flashing lights were lighting up my entire living room. And I'm like, what the hell is that about? So I sat back down and I was like, I gotta get to sleep. And I'm looking up the skylight, just kind of watching that plane go back up. And right as I lay down, I saw this perfectly flat-shaped black triangle just float right in front of my skylight.
Does it just basically block the stars out for you, or could you see?
Yeah. I would say that
colors
it was more like it blocked the stars out than I could actually see the surface. It was, but there was such a starry night that you could really define the edges of it. I was like, holy shit, I just done saw me a black triangle.
Do you think that the little circling plane was circling because it saw that thing and it was like in its
I keep
path?
wondering that, but I heard no reports. I saw nothing about it. Of course, like someone's going to call the news about it, but there's nothing on the scanner.
Even if they did,
yeah. So I don't know, but I do. It is pretty interesting that the military jet flew. What I thought was military jets flying around just prior to seeing this thing, plus that spot plane. It was fucking weird. All those things, I would have never seen that UFO. And that's kind of the thing, is that if all those weird things weren't happening that could be completely unrelated, well, I'm pretty sure the police chase was unrelated, I would have never seen it.
unless the guy driving the car
Was a
There's
gray.
a motherfucking black triangle.
Yeah, exactly, and he was trying to get to his
Hijacked.
pickup point. And you see what I'm saying here?
Right. I see it. Well, my theory about black triangles in general is, like Chris pointed out, is a UFO that I believe is military. It comes from the military. I think it's the successor to the SR-17 or SR-16, whatever, Blackbird. Stealth. The new stealth plane.
A new stealth spy plane.
Yes,
stealth
and I
fighter.
just think they're out flying it around. I think people are seeing it all over the
Testing
place.
it.
One thing I can say, looking at it from my point of view, it looked like it was about, 20 yards above my house, and that the thing itself was maybe like 20 yards long, or 20 feet long. But I've heard reports that if you see these things from underneath it, they look small, but if you see it from the side, they can literally look like the length of an entire town.
Right.
Wow.
So I don't know. I don't know if they're shapeshifters or if they're just they come in different sizes, or people are fucking dumb and they don't. I had nothing to gauge it against. Who knows how far from my roof it was?
No, okay, so here's the thing. If they've been spotted for 20, 30 years or something,
Yeah,
if
I could be wrong
was
about that.
if it
but
was
it's been a while.
a next model of stealth fighter or whatever. I mean, they do have. I mean, they've gone through during that time. They've gone through a couple different models. You know what I mean? They've been revealed and all that stuff. So if it was one of those, you would think it would have been exposed by now.
Well, it could be some technology that they're not ready to share that they have too. Is the other thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Oops. Go ahead.
Well,
Oh, was I talking?
I don't know. I was
Yellow.
just,
well,
yellow.
well, the
Ahoy,
thing is,
hoy.
In space.
it could just be that it's technology that they don't want us knowing about yet. There are theories that at Area 51 they were using reverse engineering. Bob Lazar broke the story at Area 51 and claimed that he was brought on to reverse engineer a flying saucer from space.
Do we know what year this was?
This was like in the 80s. I'm going to say 86, 87 maybe.
And who is
Maybe
Bob
a little
Lazar? I don't know the story.
He's a
very
scientist.
from space.
He
From Kansas.
it's a fascinating story. He was basically hired to work at Area 51 for that specific reason, and he wasn't like some. He's a physicist, but you could say that there are a lot more qualified people for the job. But there are interesting things about Bob Lazar. Like at the time, he was adopted. There was a weird paper trail about him. There were things. He was kind of a loner. He
Sounds like an alien.
Well, so I mean, if he got all uppity, they wouldn't have any problem taking him out.
somebody that
right?
could disappear
Exactly.
or somebody that they could discredit easily. And that's kind of what they've done since he spilled the beans. I mean, it was a top secret operation. He was told, don't tell anybody about this shit. And he told people about it. And he brought them. John Lear was one of them. He brought his wife and a couple other people out to the desert because he knew he got a hold of the test flight schedule when they were flying some of these experimental aircraft. And they were flying discs that were glowing and dancing around in the middle of the fucking desert. This was the 80s. So, that shit was pretty impressive. And they got, video footage of it. And, of course, he got fired. He got shit canned the next day. And so it's too complicated of a story to get fully into. But the main thing of his story is I was brought to Area 51 to work on alien spacecrafts, to reverse engineer it and find out how the technology works.
For the military
And it was
purposes.
crazy fucking technology. Like his theory, or it wasn't even his theory. He said that the way these machines worked, but they were literally flying saucers, and they had these 3 like giant gravity amplifiers on the bottom of it. And the way it worked is that once you were in space, you could use those amplifiers to modify gravity and space matter itself around you to the point where you could actually fold space in half. You guys are looking at me like I'm a tar boy.
No.
But it's crazy, and I don't know. It's hard to buy something like that, but it makes more sense than traveling at the speed of light.
Oh, no, there's
because
plenty of theories out there where people have...
space folding.
Yeah, I mean, it's been hypothesized. I mean, we don't have the math or the science to actually do it, but it's been postulated that this is a possible way of beating the speed of light limitation.
Fucking weird, though. I don't know. Do you guys have any UFO stories, like any good ones? Or I know we're going to talk about probings later. That's really the whole point of this podcast. Is
I don't have
probing.
I don't have one that I think is necessarily for 100%, sure firsthand. But
then shut the fuck up, Chris. You
I
got
do.
anything?
Yeah, no.
I do have a story from a friend of mine who I used to live with. Was on his way back home from visiting some other city somewhere, and he came home and he was all agitated, and first thing he does is he comes running in the apartment, and he's like, "Hey, I need to talk to you. Come back here." So we will go back to his room, and he's all like, "Dude, I just saw a UFO." I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, we were on our way back, and we came to this spot on the road where it's like kind of next to this lake, and there was like all these cars parked along the side of the road, and there wasn't any reason for them to be there. Like there was no, overlook or anything like that. There was just suddenly a bunch of cars and like a news van or something, and there's nobody around. So they decided to check it out and see what was going on." And they kind of followed the little trail that the people had forged or whatever down the hillside to this lake, and they got down there. There was a bunch of people standing on the side at the edge of the water and looking out over in the lake. And in the middle of the lake, there was basically what he described as like a saucer just hovering over the water, just not moving, just sitting there. And he asked the news crew if it was going to be on the news later, and they're like, "Oh yeah, some channel." I can't remember what he said it was, but of course there was nothing on the news later.
Yeah.
I totally believe that he saw what he saw, but
that's a whole other can of worms right there. How the media treats UFO, both the reports, the science, I guess, quote unquote, behind it, or the experts, I guess, is what I'm trying to dial up. It's always, tongue in cheek. It's always with the great. And I always just want to see those smarmy newscasters get so fucking deeply anally probed.
Yes.
When they're out on a story making fun of these, because they always look for the most goober. I'll tell you what, I saw me a spaceship. Yeah,
you're gonna watch the skies first now, and that'll be your job.
Well, hang on, I gotta shoot this cat over here. Anyways, as I was saying, I saw this UFO come down, and yes, sir, it was gonna probe me in the anus. I tell you what. And they just stand back and they're looking around, and
I think this is like a kind of a uniquely American thing, because you see a lot of footage you see of UFOs you see from other countries. It's actually on the news. They show it. You know what I mean?
And people are genuinely intrigued and concerned, because as they fucking should be, because at the worst case scenario is it's aliens coming down to either probe or eat us.
Yes.
Or I guess even, clandestine military government operations that are so dark they daren't tell us. Well, that's pretty fucking bad news too.
Did you hear the story of what Stephen Hawking said about?
Yeah, I read
that.
Yeah. He's saying that
said we should be afraid of them, and we should not want them to come down.
Ignorance is bliss, motherfucker.
The ending's only just begun, but we can say we had a good run, 'cause it's the end of the world. But all I really have to say is that I loved every single day in this beautiful world. So throw all your cares out the window. There's just no need for them now.
Yeah, his whole thing is that we should just be afraid, and we're basically asking for World War A. You like that?
Yeah, he was saying that it would be sort of like a Columbus discovering the New World situation, where we were the native people and the aliens were the Spaniards conquering us.
Yes, and I don't know. Of course, he makes some points, but that was always. I don't think that thought is anything new. Of course, we don't know what aliens would be like or how they would treat our anuses. But
what do you think the whole deal with probing is, anyways?
I don't know.
Let's just get right into the hot subject.
I don't know. I've gone over it. I have a few theories, but none of them stack up.
It's a stereotype. It's like all stereotypes. A bunch of different things coalesce into one sort of deal, and that became the anal probe.
I think probing in general was
medical experimentation,
right? Just probing, and I think that people. I mean, if you're going to think of probing, you may as well think of the anus. So I think those two things are like the chocolate and peanut butter of the alien medical experimentation world, and it just stuck. Maybe that's why it's stuck.
Because there's also all the implants and things, which is also
right, that aren't necessarily anal related. Chris looks like he has
Well, I'm just thinking, does that make aliens spaces rapists? That's almost like a tongue twister.
Aliens are definitely rapists from space.
I like
that flows a little better.
Yeah, rapists from space.
Absolutely. Well, let's say they come down
and come inside.
they come right on in. They pull down our trousers. They stick stuff up us. They don't ask. And if they did ask and we said no, I'm sure they're going in anyway.
Yep.
Complete classic textbook space rape.
Space rape.
But why? I guess the question is why.
Do you think maybe we're looking at this in the wrong light? Maybe it's like
the wrong angle, the wrong end.
Maybe it's the wrong angle.
Right. Gotcha.
Maybe on the alien homeland, they have some rare cancer or something that can only be cured by the secretions of our butthole.
That's strong.
Maybe it's not even like it's like a necessity. Like
right.
Can you imagine like they're raping you with their probe, so to speak?
Yes.
In and out, and you're like, and they're like, and they're really saying, "We're so sorry. We're so sorry.
So sorry." Right. It's just, but our children are dying.
You have no idea. This hurts me more than it hurts you.
You know what I like about that theory is it makes it less scary. It's like, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're ass up, trousers off, you're seeing like some silvery metal table, and in that reflection there are two bug-eyed anus probers behind you. If you knew that they're just collecting your turds to cure, little Billy and Timmy on Melmac,
so
then
you can just see the vision of the UFO landing on Melmac or whatever space planet,
right?
And little Billy runs out, "Daddy, what did you bring me?"
corn again? What is with them? Why is the...
This one has a peanut.
Yeah, no, I think it's a wonderful theory. They should do a, if they were smart about it, though, they would host some sort of benefit, some sort of knowledge and awareness benefit campaign, like We Are the World or Hands Across America. A drive,
like
if you
maybe get some celebrities to sing a song and
get some celebrities together and
some
we have the cure. And,
well, we would never know because we're not there, but maybe that's what they're doing, and that's why.
I guess so. Maybe they're rallying the troops on the planet, their home planet, and they just don't give a fuck about how it's harvested here.
They raise money for that to send them here.
To send them here, it's a mission.
Yes,
and they are on a poop gathering mission.
Poop foraging.
Poop foraging.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not probing. We're gonna change it. That's the new probe.
You getting forged over there, Bill? They're forging the hell out of me.
Foragers in space.
I ain't gonna lie, being forged ain't half bad.
Well, you think we should talk about maybe some of the classic movies inspired by?
There are a lot of alien movies, but I don't know. I could talk about probing all day.
You just keep going.
Fire in the Sky has probing in it, doesn't it?
Fire in the Sky is an excellent one, and it does. I think it does have. Does it have an implant?
It has all sorts. Like all I remember is the goo.
There's all kinds of crazy medical.
What do you suppose the theory is with the implant? Because what do you suppose? What are your guys' theories on the implants?
Well, there's a whole bunch of.
Like, what do you mean? Like they?
Well, some of them look like little tiny microchips.
Yeah, people find them like under their skin in different places, and sometimes some people have like sneezed real hard and little things have come out of their nose, like little like
not biological.
Yeah, like definitely
mechanical
sort of,
or electronic.
Yeah, a little clear capsule with some electronic stuff that nobody knows what it is inside it. Like
it's a robot. It's a nose robot.
Yes.
Obviously, I guess the easiest answer is they're tagging us to follow us like we do with wildlife. You know, learning its habitats. But I don't know. I have a hard time buying that if you've got the technology to go anywhere you want in the galaxy.
Fold space in half.
If you can fucking fold space to go anywhere, why would you just, go study people? I guess, I don't know. I guess there'd be safari.
We could go. We could go many different places with this, but I mean,
straight into the butt.
One way of looking at it could be that
forging is Chris's new word ever.
whoever they are sort of keeping tabs on us, as sort of like intergalactic park rangers, as it were,
like babysitting more than
right. Exactly, just kind of keeping an eye on us as we develop technologically. And
that's right out of Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yeah, which is and just kind of making sure that we are, we don't develop
fuck up
destructive capabilities that are,
outreaching,
out of proportion to our ability
dick size.
Yes.
Don't let your bombs get bigger than your dick, son.
Right.
Yeah, forge you all night long.
I see. They're always portrayed as either these super peaceful, supremely intelligent beings, or super evil, vindictive,
Independence
power.
Day. We're coming to fuck you.
We're just gonna kill you because we can.
Yeah. We want your water that destroys us.
I like to think they're more like space truckers. Like they're just long distance truckers. Maybe they are collecting poo.
Maybe they're looking for some meth or something.
Stopping here and there. Maybe they don't truck stop blowjob where they can
get a little gainal. But there's I don't know. I kind of like the idea of them getting in their craft, cranking up some Skinner, doing a little meth. Say, I got to stay up for 600,000 years.
Hitting the road.
It's going to be a long haul. We don't have ice on our planet. If you can come up with a better way to make ice, I'd like to hear it. Like maybe there is some spice, Obviously, we've talked at depth about the poop, but there could be anything.
There you go.
There could be anything
Spice.
that they want. The spice. But they just load it back into their little. Although it's not a very economical truck, I guess. In other words, they're pretty compact. Seems like there'd just be a to and fro type of situation rather than hauling, I guess. But I don't know. I don't necessarily think that aliens have to be one all or the other, like films tend to portray.
Well, there's depending on who you ask, there is not necessarily one one species that appears, that there are anywhere from 2 to 5 to 7 different types at any one time,
Right.
with their own agendas doing stuff.
Right.
Do you think it's possible that there maybe is like there are aliens right now among us that are disguised as humans?
Why not? It's possible.
Shapeshifters, sure. I think so.
You think maybe some of them are famous? Like if you had to pick a celebrity,
Lady Gaga?
Lady
alien-like.
Gaga might be an alien. Who would you think stands
She
out?
said, listen to how she says "pop, pop, pop, poker." That's very alien-y, gang.
For rich. Oh shit!
What if like all celebrities were?
Yeah.
And that's the it factor.
Tori Spelling, I
is
think she's
you're
an alien.
I'm pretty sure Keanu Reeves is an alien.
Whoa.
He's got one facial expression. Like he can't figure
Bogus.
out. It's always the same. It's like a pineapple has the same amount of facial expressions as Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Obama kind of looks alien-y. I believe he's got sort of a light bulby head.
Oh, now you don't like black people?
No, never have. What do you mean now?
Jerry, can you make out anything down there? I may be missing some individual structures, but there are no cities, ports, roads, bridges, dams. There's just no sign of civilization at all. Sir, we're being radar scanned. Seems to emanate from an area of about 20 miles square. 20 miles square.
You know, a lot of people have the theory that cryptids, such as Bigfoot or Sasquatch, as we talked about in our last podcast, Sasquatch, are in fact
It's never gonna get old. I'm
no,
sorry.
no, it's not. Are alien, and El Chupacabra, all these weird little fuckers, shadow people, which we're going to be talking about in an upcoming podcast. That's a theory. Shadow people, especially. I don't want to get too much into it now, but they seem to be. They seem to sort of fit the alien-y
Yeah.
thing. I don't know about Bigfoot. It doesn't seem like. It just doesn't seem like animals would come from space. You know what I mean? It's like. And, it's like the last thing I would expect to see poke their head out of a saucer that lands on the lawn at the White House is a fucking ape.
Fucking like Bambi, like.
What do you think now, motherfuckers? It's like, wait a minute. That would get the evolutionists going into a hissy, which would be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think on that shit?
I think that maybe if Bigfoot was an alien, he'd sort of be like he would have like a birth defect. He would have been
Like a third nipple? What are we talking about?
Like
here?
he's a special alien.
Yes.
That they'd kicked off their planet to
He
get
was
rid
the
of.
chosen one.
He was a tard alien,
Yep.
and he goes to Earth.
Yeah. Jimmy.
Yeah, I kind of like that theory too. Maybe that's how the human race started. Maybe we are
Retarded
the
aliens.
tards of the alien world,
Aliens retard.
and they just come to check in on us every now and again, see if we're getting any smarter. Over
And they
the
don't
years.
slaughter us because we're family at this point.
Right.
You
It's
know?
like, that guy, he drools and he can't talk right, but I just can't get myself to kill him. That's how I feel about cripples. So, what are your favorite alien movies?
Well, there's Alien.
Never seen it.
Are you a fan of the alien movies that are like, oh, look at this great new race we discovered, or like, oh my fucking god, I'm so scared for my life, I'm going to die?
You know, the ones that tend to be hostile aliens, they're kind of like one size fits all, that it's sort of, they're very rarely unique and original.
It's kind of like the same
So I
shit,
tend
different
to-
smell every time.
I tend to
right?
like the idea where there's, I love the idea of like going to a planet where there's assholes and nice people, just
Yeah.
like any other, just like Earth, because that's how I think it would be. I just don't see. I don't care how supreme a being, a race of beings
Technologically or
gets.
whatever.
I just don't see them being this floating like we are all brethren, you and I.
Yeah, no.
We know so much more about the butt than you do.
It's more like, give us your butt, we will forge.
You guys have all seen District 9, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Sweetie
So-
bud.
Sweetie Man, yeah.
right.
That I thought that portrayal of them was pretty fascinating. The aliens in that movie.
They're kind of like galactic pussies, is what you're saying.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't follow.
Yeah,
that.
that's what you're saying. No, that's pretty clear.
John Mark looks offended.
I don't know what's
They're not
going
pussies.
on. I don't know what's going on.
I need
anymore.
mine.
Head to the water tower and defend their honor.
So, like, basically the human. I mean, obviously that doesn't make sense, but they were kind of the humanity of them. Is that what you're getting
Well,
at?
they had regressed, like their leader class, because they were basically supposed to be like insects, right?
Yeah, they would loot and they would So
they had supposedly their leader class had died off, and that's why they were stuck there. So it just, I don't know, it was an interesting portrayal of them. Not like you were saying before, they're either like, you know, marauding invaders or super benevolent benefactors,
right?
And this was neither of those at all. It was just sort of like, here they are. What are they? We don't know. We're just gonna put them over here and try to forget about it, kind of deal, you know?
Yeah, I think it would be more like that. And I think it would be more like, you know, there are some movies, I can't think of any. It's sort of a Planet of the Apes thing. It wasn't aliens, but how there are a group of people that are a group of this race that is very oppressive and very, you know, domineering. And then there's the group that are basically the hippies. And then you got somewhere in between there the pacifists that haven't quite been swayed to join the you know, the peace-loving, the ones that understand that life can be better than just taking what, you know, the oppressors are giving upon you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a much more realistic way. I don't know how that fits into ass probing. I think that only the scientists are probably fit to come collect our dung and bring it
and
back,
study it,
and then they just throw it to the poor people on the streets.
That's right, because monkeys like to throw poo, right?
That's
You
right.
get some poo. You get some poo.
You no poo for you. Not so much a poo. I liked Signs. I thought Signs was a pretty good alien
I like
movie.
Signs a lot too, because it kind of put you in that, it left your imagination to a lot.
Yeah.
And it kind of put you in that what if situation. You know, you're probably going to be sitting at home watching newscasts, you know, of what's going on worldwide.
Yeah.
I like that
My
too.
problem with invasion movies is that I never know. You never get a good, believable reason about why they're coming here,
Right.
why they're so pissed at us. Just an out of the blue invasion, you know.
Well, unless they want to terraform and use our blood to fuel their.
Yeah, but they never even seem to really give you a reason. You notice that? It's just
Yeah.
like they just kind of show up. Like Signs, for example, I don't think we ever found out why.
They can,
Were they eating? I don't think they were eating
I
us.
think
were
we
they?
talked about this once, and John Mark, I think, made a really good point. He was like, they came to our planet when we're like, what? How much percentage of our
Like
planet's
70,
covered by
80% water.
Yeah, and it's deadly poison to them.
Right.
This
yeah.
sounds like a good place to
think
go.
It's a fair
I think
point.
that something. I think they must have had some sort of equipment malfunction.
Well, M. Shyamalama Ding Dong usually has at least one big problem with his script.
The aliens in Signs were not galactic pussies.
No.
They
No.
liked the challenge. They wanted to go face that head
That's
on.
true. I guess that's one angle on it. You know, we don't fucking care. We'll go where the water ain't.
Yeah.
And we'll still fucking ass rape you. Because remember, at the end of the day, they are the rapist of space. And maybe that's their goal. Maybe they're coming here for some prime man pussy.
Man pussy.
Oh yeah, well they're clearly not interested in our hot chicks. Not that rape tends to be a sexual act. It's more about power, and they would, if they really want to get in there and rape in a power way, they're gonna get, you know, they're gonna be like bending over Hulk Hogan and shit like that.
Aren't there some stories of people, of women being like basically implanted and then abducted,
through love making.
fertilized, and then
Yeah, there's been
abducted
a lot of
again, and then having the fetus taken, that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's been tons of stories like
That's pretty
that.
fucking
And some
creepy.
of them they're consensual. Some of them are they literally wake up like on a table.
Yeah.
There's 3 guys watching, and there's one guy like pumping away. I mean, I can't think of anything more fucking horrifying. Like you wake up, it's like, God, I really got to take a shit or something. And then as you're getting more and more conscious, you're like, is something fucking me? And you turn around, is an alien fucking me? It's like, could this get weirder?
No, it couldn't.
Mother,
Oh boy, it just got weirder.
it just got real.
It just happened.
Yeah, so I think Signs is probably oddly enough, one of my favorite alien movies. Classic favorite alien movie of all time, though. is definitely The Day the Earth Stood Still, because it was one of the first that really did that message that's so cliched to death now, where it's like, we've been watching you. Your technology's been advancing. It's gotten better and better. Now it's too fucking big. You're going to not only start blowing up your own shit, you're going to start blowing up shit in space
that you don't have any idea about yet. So
that's all it was about. And it was like, look, either you join our peaceful federation and disarm your nuclear shit, or we're going to blow up your fucking planet.
Did you see the new one?
That's a genius plot, I think.
I did see the new one, and I actually kind of enjoyed it.
I haven't seen it.
I did too, but I remember enjoying it, but I don't remember the movie. I remember the digging the modern spaceship. But it's one of those movies that I liked the experience of watching it.
It's not super memorable, but
I can't remember anything about it.
Keanu Reeves does that to you. You just kind of forget.
I just walk out of the theater and go, whoa.
I know Kung Fu.
I like him. He's that, he's a very workmanlike
I actually
actor.
like him too. Yeah.
He does.
I mean, Bill and Ted. If all he ever did was Bill and Ted, he would still be in my top 5 greatest American actors of all time.
Did another sequel to Bill and Ted with the actors?
I keep waiting for them to. I mean, with all the weird, they keep revamping. God knows they've revamped worse.
Yeah.
I can't believe that they haven't. It would be a mistake, I think, for Keanu to be a part of it. But at the same time, I think it would be pretty popular.
Well, what if he played the who was it that was actually the person, the guy that came to warn them, or came?
That was
Carl.
Was it George Carlin?
Yeah,
George Carlin.
George
Yeah, it was George Carlin. Like, what if he played the George Carlin?
Reuben,
role
or wasn't it? Or
Rufus.
Rufus.
It was Rufus.
Rufus.
Yeah.
Right.
What if he played Rufus and he came and he was like, "Oh, Bill and Ted, you must go on this excellent journey."
Trust me.
I mean, that would be rad.
Yeah. Yeah, cameo. And like they revamped the series. Yeah. I'd be up for it. I think it's a brilliant fucking franchise.
We should get on that. What are we doing here?
Yeah. That's the end of it. Actually, I think we are going to wrap it up. Because we got to...
we got to go. We got to go.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. Is there anything you guys want to add to the space raping or...
I think enough space raping has occurred for all here.
Yeah, it gets depressing after a while. Funny at first,
and then after
depressing.
A while,
it has a depressing finish.
Once you get like 2 or 3 space forges, and you just don't. It's not funny.
Yeah, I'm all tapped out. So next week we're going to be talking about ghosts. Got a couple of good ghost stories. I don't have any good ghost stories, but I happen to know somebody who does, and he's going to be sharing it with. He's crying right now. He promised he wouldn't do this. So tune in next week for that, and we'll see you then.
Bye.
See ya.
There comes a time we all must decide what to do with all our poo. I hear you saying I'll just flush it down the toilet. Well, what good would that do? Well, how about instead we all use our head and give a little bath to those bug-eyed anus probers of the night who found the cure in our crack. We have the cure. It's in our butthole. That troubling stuff that you and I excrete could save their people. So friends, the next time you take a squeege, put a little bit in an old coffee can and set it out on the porch. They'll pick it up. They're coming for it anyway. Isn't this just a nicer way for them to collect it? And who knows, maybe, together, we can finally lick this thing. We have the cure. It's in our butthole. That troubling stuff that you and I excrete could save their people. The people that die. We have the cure. It's in our butthole. Right inside our butthole. That troubling stuff that you and I excrete could save their people. We have the cure. It's in our butthole. That troubling stuff that you and I excrete
Is there something further? Is that the sound of a forge happening?